How's it going, everybody? Welcome to an online gathering with the Movement Church. My name is Blake Huffine, and I'm the pastor here. If this is your first time gathering, I want to start out by just giving you a special welcome and just let you know that this church, this ministry, is about growing the kingdom of God. We are about growing your relationship with Jesus. So it's not about the name or the logo. It is about growing your relationship with Jesus. So I want to give you a special welcome. And if you are a consistent viewer, if you are here just weekly and you're sharing the word about the Movement Church, you're wearing your shirts, handing out cards, just telling people about this move of God, I want to give you guys a special welcome and a thank you just for doing that, just for helping grow this ministry. So I want to start out today and ask you if you ever compare yourself to people in the Bible. Do you ever compare, and not even in a good way? Do you compare yourself and their trials and the ways that they faced opportunities to serve? Do you ever compare yourself in a negative way to that? Do you ever think that you are incapable of serving God because you don't have real events like marching the walls of Jericho, or facing King Nebuchadnezzar, or facing a giant like Goliath? Do you ever compare yourself and your opportunities to serve to the people of the Bible and the opportunities that they had? Are you lowering the value of the places God has put you in because they're not a battle as big as the ones I had mentioned? Well, if this is you, if you feel like that you just are not having opportunities to truly serve God, then I have news for you. And I want you to write this down, okay? If you're not stomping the ants that God has given you, if you're not stepping on the ants that God has given you, then He is not going to send you giants. The thing that you're wanting to do, the thing that you want to grow and face will only be as important as you treat it. This is the importance of faith. Are you trusting Him to back His word where He says He'll be there for you? Where is your faith at in this situation? It will only be as big as you treat it, the opportunities that you have. How far do you believe God can go with it? And how far do you believe God can take you? The quickest way, I've heard it said, the quickest way to kill something special is to compare it to something else. How are you viewing the opportunities that God has given you now? My sermon today, I'm calling it, Serve God Where You Are Now. Serve God where you are now. And as I mentioned earlier, I want to talk about David today. Now, David has a name that is very well known, even outside of people who follow Christ, who believe in God, know the story of David facing Goliath. It's a very common story used to symbolize facing something that is bigger than you, and the possibilities of actually overcoming it are great. So the story with Goliath, it's been an encouragement, hasn't it, for believers really to trust God to be there. But we often just only view it as the biggest events for it to be a David and Goliath. The courage that David showed in the moment, it was on the spot, from knowledge and trust in God, from having faith in God at all times. But I need to mention that David was not on his way to a battle. He was on his way with a simple task: to take food to his brothers. The simplest thing, obeying his father, just doing the simplest thing, created the opportunity to glorify and to show the faithfulness of God, to show his faith in God. It was from a simple task. And the size of Goliath compared to David is inspiring. Him facing Goliath and him being bigger than him and taking him down with just a rock and a sling is very, very inspiring. But more inspiring to me is the fact that it was with a simple task. How simple God is to use you to serve Him. Now, what could be a simple task to you serving God could be taking down a Goliath in somebody else's life as well. It's not important for you to try to identify the size of the event that God is asking you to serve in. The importance is that you acknowledge the size of your God that you're serving through the smallest event that you're facing in life. It's this simple task of taking food It shows the significance of following, serving God, being a faithful servant at all times. I mean, this is what David demonstrated in this moment. And maybe if we took it in perspective that this was a different food as well that David was bringing his brothers. Maybe it was a spiritual food of showing being faithful to God and what He is capable and what He is willing to do in your life if you would be faithful and outward in your service to Him. So, I mean, in the smallest events, treat them as great opportunities to serve God. If you want giants, start stomping your ants. Your opportunities are only going to be as big as you treat them. They're only going to be as much as your faith is in God. If you want Him to take them somewhere, you got to start treating them like they're already going somewhere. Look what we're doing here with the Movement Church. We may just simply be an online page of 200 people gathering or 300 people, however many it is now, but it's going farther. We're trusting God to truly move in this area, and I'm seeing it in my vision of far into the future. If I was to look at it and just as what it is right now, it could maybe never go anywhere. But I trust a big God, and I'm trusting Him with the big vision that He has given me, and I'm going to see this, and we are going to see this. If you stay with us and keep pushing through, we're going to see a great move of God come out of this. I mean, your opportunities are only going to be as big as you treat them. Don't compare them to something else. Those are your opportunities. They can't be compared to something else. Only you can see them, and only you can see that vision that God has given you. Don't compare it to somebody else's vision. That's their vision. That's not your vision. So you need to take into perspective of what maybe God's trying to do in your life. The quickest way to kill something special is to compare it to something else. Take value in that vision that God has given you. Take value in those small opportunities to just step into someone's life and be there for them. Those are big moments to serve God. It's not about being on a stage or having your name on a screen and glorifying God there. Sometimes it's just, most of the time, let me correct myself, most of the time it's bigger to serve God and show the faithfulness of God in those quiet conversations with somebody that no one else knows about. That's where your giants are, is in those moments, and helping other people take down their Goliath. I want you guys to